Welcome to this video on how to use the control panel. Now this will only be for BYU Hawaii students who we've created an account for. And if you are a student and are having trouble accessing your account, just email your instructor. Now if you're not a student and you're watching this video, you'll have to find a web host that will allow you to create an account with them. And then once you log in, a lot of web hosts use control panel or the CPanel software. And you can follow along with the video after you have created and paid for an account. So for BYU Hawaii students, you go to this URL right here. And once you go to that, you'll see that it will redirect you to this page, and that's all right. And you type in your username, which will be your net ID, and then your password. And there should be instructions on what your password is. And after you log in for the first time, you'll change the password to something you know. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And now there's really only one thing that we'll use to start with and that's this file manager. Later on, when we start getting to the database assignments, we'll use these two links. All the other links, you can look around at them and find out helpful information about them, but we'll just be using the file manager. Now, if you do log in for the first time, it'll probably prompt you to change your password. So go ahead and change the password, and then you'll land on this page. So then go ahead and click on the file manager. In a new tab, you'll basically just have a file window. Over here, you can browse some folders. And most of these folders are not public on the website. Of course, there's FTP or File Transfer Protocol. But the only folder that you'll need to worry about is this public HTML folder. So you can click on that and you can see here I have some files are already loaded in here. You probably will have the CGI bin, but not all the rest of the folders. And that's okay. But this is just like if you're on your computer browsing your files, you're browsing these files. Now, the files in the public HTML folder are the files that you're going to put on the web. If you don't put it in the public HTML, you put it in some other folder, it's not going to be on the web. So you can create a folder if you want. I have created this PHP folder. You can create any other folder. You just go up here, a new folder, and you can add new files as well. Now, I went ahead and created this PHP folder. You can do that, or you can leave your files in the root. It's kind of up to you. But to get into folders, just double click, or you can click over here. I already have some PHP files in here. You probably won't, but to go ahead and create your first file, and this will probably be for your portfolio assignment, just go ahead and click a new file, and I will call mine first.php, and we'll go ahead and create that new file. And now you see I got this first.php right here, and I can go ahead and click it once to highlight it, and up here I have an editor. By the way, you can use an external editor to create your file, upload it this way as well. Although I will show you the best way to use an external editor. This is a plain text editor that you might have running on your computer. And the reason why you might want to use a plain text editor instead of the editor here on the control panel is that the plain text, the editor that you have will auto-complete your what you type, and it will also give you hints on things that you can type. It really could reduce the errors, whereas the editor here on the web that you're using won't do that for you, and it might be easier to use, but you might lose time because it doesn't help you type things in correctly the first time. But the editor here on the web, you could just go ahead and click Edit, and this will pop up. And then in a new tab, you have an editor. And in here, you can go ahead and create your first HTML or an HTML page. And again, I named this .php, so this really is a PHP file, but PHP starts out in HTML mode. So whatever you put here, any HTML page can be a PHP file. So whatever you put here is what your HTML page is going to be. So you can go ahead and add in some information. This is my first PHP page, and we'll add in a body and maybe even a header tag. And we'll go welcome. And just to do a little bit of PHP debugging, and when we do this right here, we enter into what's called PHP mode. And this is where we can put our code right here. Before PHP or languages like PHP, you write a program that would print out each one of these lines. So you'd write print this, print that, print this. And that got a little tedious. So PHP decided, well, outside of this tag or block right here, that will just be an automatic print statement. So we'll just print all of that out. So once we get into here, this is where we can put our PHP code. So, and in here, we can do print hello if we want. And we can go ahead and save our changes. So we saved our changes. And now let's view this on the web. Now I'm going to show you what not to do. Whatever you do, do not right click on this and click view right here. Now this is, okay, I guess you're kind of viewing this right here, but it's not really viewing it on the web. The only way to go to it, and you also don't want to right click here in the file manager and kind of say download, or I think what a lot of people end up doing, let me get that off. What a lot of people end up doing is they end up double clicking this. And if you notice, it downloads it to your computer, and sometimes your computer opens up the page. But that will never work. We want to view it on the web. So don't double click it. The only way to view it, and there's you can't click anything in Control Panel. You just have to go visit your website. So how you do that is you type in your net ID or your IS3 username, and mine is cslay.is3.byuh.edu. And then compress enter. You'll probably see a list of files in here, and you see this PHP folder, and there's my first .php page. Right now, these little lists of files are kind of handy for you, but if you put an index.php file in here, instead of seeing this, we'll see an index.php page. So just be a little careful with that. That's actually what you want to do, but you do lose the ability to have a list of your files and see it. But now we look at this. Now, one thing I wanted to show you is if we right click and view our page source, you notice the PHP code block is gone. So what happened is our browser made a request to the server for this PHP file. The server ran our PHP program, and our PHP program printed out all of this HTML page, and it sent that back. So the little PHP code blocks are gone. There's no way that anybody on the web can go in and see your PHP code, at least without hacking your server. Of course, if they can hack the server and get to your file, they can see your code. But the PHP code runs on the server, and whatever the result of running that produces an HTML page, and it gets displayed like this. So just to be extra clear, if you want to view your page instead of my page, you would put your username right here instead of my username. And that's how the IS3 machine is going to know whose site to display by whose username is right here. So when you do it, replace that with your username. Another thing to make sure is you type in your URL. You can't get to your web page by clicking on something in the control panel. You have to type it in. And by the way, it's also the CPanel, our IS3 machine is set up with a security certificate. So if you want to use a secure page, you can just do HTTPS with your username, and you will be on a secure site, and that will get rid of warnings when you start having forms that you're on an insecure site. Now, once again, you're welcome to use this editor built into Control Panel. It'll go ahead and save your files on the machine, but you might want to look into an external editor like Visual Studio Code, Atom Editor, and Komodo Edit is another free editor that works really well with PHP. Now, the reason for that is this actually editor has gotten better. You saw that it auto-completed my tags. But one thing that might not do so well with is if I do a tag that doesn't exist, it goes ahead and does that, and it has no warning or no error message right here whereas other editors will give you an error message. Also, when you get into doing some CSS, this editor, you can edit your files with CSS on this, but this editor won't give you warnings or auto-completions as much. So if you do use an external editor, all you have to do is use your external editor, and when you're ready to upload it to the server, you can have this web page open, copy everything from the external editor, click Control A and paste in your changes and click Save. That's the easiest way to use an external editor. Or you can always use the upload button and upload the files, and that could be a good idea because then you have a backup. You have one on the IS3 machine and one on your local server, and then you can upload them that way. But I think the quickest thing that most people do is use the external editor, and they go ahead and just copy and paste their code into this editor up here and click Save Changes, and then they go to their web page and click Refresh. And that's all you need to know about using the IS3 machine. Make sure that you start your assignments early and ask questions to clear up any confusion. And once again, if you have any trouble accessing your account on the control panel, make sure you email the instructor.